After the Hunt is a 2025 psychological drama directed by Luca Guadagnino, who also directed Challengers and Call Me by Your Name. It stars Julia Roberts, Ayo Edebiri, and Andrew Garfield in a tense academic drama about truth, power, and moral ambiguity inside a university setting. The movie explores how one accusation can unravel multiple lives and how the truth is never as simple as it seems. We open on Yale University, presented not as a place of learning, but as a beautiful prison of intellect and reputation. Dr. Alma Imhoff, Julia Roberts, is the epitome of the polished academic, elegant, articulate, unshakably rational. She's preparing for a lecture on moral philosophy, arguing that truth is not a feeling, it's a construct we fight to preserve. That line, "Truth is not a feeling," becomes the spine of the entire film. She returns home to her husband, Frederick, a fellow intellectual who treats their marriage like a quiet academic partnership. Their dialogue is distant, rehearsed. Alma pours herself a glass of wine and stares into the empty yard, a ritual that hints at loneliness beneath her perfect facade. Enter Maggie Resnick, young, brilliant, magnetic. Maggie is Alma's brightest student, an emotional mirror, passionate where Alma is repressed, instinctive where Alma is cerebral. Alma begins mentoring her intensely. She sees Maggie as a second chance, maybe even the version of herself she lost to age, marriage, and tenure politics. Then there's Hank Gibson, a fellow professor. Charismatic, boyish, popular with students. There's history between him and Alma. Subtle, unspoken sexual tension that lingers in their exchanges. They share drinks after faculty meetings. They understand each other's cynicism about the system. The first act ends at a department party. Dim lighting, too much wine, academic laughter masking competition. Maggie leaves early. Hank follows. We don't see what happens. All we hear is the faint echo of her voice saying, "No, I should go." Then, cut to black. The next morning, Maggie arrives at Alma's office, trembling. She confesses that Hank assaulted her. The way the scene is written is brilliant. Maggie doesn't describe events chronologically, but emotionally. She says, "It felt like I wasn't there anymore." Alma listens in silence, and for the first time her face cracks, not just from empathy, but from recognition. Something about Maggie's story resonates too closely with her own past. Alma's moral universe collapses. She reports the incident to the dean. An investigation begins. The university becomes a battlefield of whispers. Hank denies everything, saying they kissed, but that Maggie initiated it. Maggie insists it was non-consensual. The story fractures into competing truths, each plausible, each incomplete. Meanwhile, the camera follows Alma's descent, sleepless nights, staring at empty lecture halls, drowning in self-doubt. Guadagnino shoots her apartment like a museum of guilt, all glass, reflections, and half-seen shadows. Alma is not just reacting to Maggie's trauma. She's reliving her own, a past relationship with a student that blurred ethical lines. It wasn't an assault, but it violated boundaries, and she's buried that shame for decades. Now, Maggie's pain reawakens Alma's own complicity. The title now takes shape. The hunt is not for the truth. It's the hunt for moral clarity in a world that refuses to give it. Hank's career disintegrates. He's asked to take a leave of absence. He confronts Alma in a quiet corridor. No music, just silence. Hank, "You know I didn't hurt her." Alma, "You know that doesn't matter anymore." That line encapsulates the modern tragedy of After the Hunt. In a moral landscape shaped by trauma and perception, truth has become irrelevant. What matters is how people feel about the truth. Maggie becomes a symbol, a voice for survivors. She's interviewed, applauded, but she's uneasy. Her eyes flicker with doubt when she reads her own words quoted back to her. Alma begins to see her mentorship as manipulation, not out of malice, but vanity. She tried to mold Maggie into an idea of herself. The more Maggie asserts her independence, the more Alma loses control. and identity. By this point, every character is both hunter and hunted. Maggie hunts justice, but becomes consumed by vengeance. Hank hunts redemption, but becomes a symbol of guilt. Alma hunts truth, but ends up facing her own lie. The university clears the case with no conclusive evidence. Hank resigns, vanishes. Alma faces an ethics inquiry herself after a student files a complaint about her biased handling of the situation. The institution turns cold on her. The system she served now devours her. One evening, Maggie visits Alma's office. It's after hours. The lighting mirrors the opening lecture, warm, academic, deceptive. The script gives them a long, minimalist scene, no score, just dialogue that feels like chess. Maggie, I remember pieces. Some nights, I think maybe I invited it. Alma, you didn't invite anything. Maggie, but it felt like that. And feelings are real. Alma, facts aren't feelings. Maggie, maybe facts don't matter anymore. That exchange is the philosophical climax of the movie, a collision between reason and emotion, intellect and instinct, the very gap that defines generational feminism. The two women sit in silence. Then Maggie reaches out, touches Alma's hand. For a moment, it feels like forgiveness, but it's not. It's exhaustion. It's the human need to rest, even in moral fog. Alma breaks down, crying for the first time. Not for Hank, not for Maggie, but for herself. For all the years she's lived pretending clarity was possible. The next morning, Alma walks across campus. The students she once taught don't look at her. She's become a ghost in her own temple of reason. We see Maggie again, leading a seminar. She repeats one of Alma's old lines. Truth is not a feeling, it's what survives feeling. Her students nod, but Maggie's expression says she no longer believes it. Alma watches her from a distance, unseen. There's no music, only ambient sound. Then fade to black. The ending is not about forgiveness or guilt. It's about coexistence with ambiguity. Alma's arc is about dismantling intellectual arrogance, realizing that logic can't clean emotional truth. Maggie's arc is about realizing that emotional truth, without accountability, can become manipulation. Their false reconciliation is the meeting point of these ideas, a quiet recognition that no one can live in absolute moral purity. The title, After the Hunt, refers to what happens after moral pursuit ends, when you've caught nothing but the cost of chasing. It's about living after the search for clarity, when all you have left is yourself. Every character remembers selectively. The film uses memory fragments to show how perception creates its own truth. Alma's tragedy is her certainty. The moment she believes she's doing the right thing, she becomes dangerous to herself and others. Alma watching Maggie from afar isn't just closure, it's succession. The cycle repeats. The mentor gives way to the student, who will one day face her own reckoning. The hunt never really ends. Only the hunters change.